Hi there, Mr. Biggers here, and today we're going to start Module 11.1, Day 2, Graphing Quadratic Functions. Yesterday, if you completed the notes in the assignment, we learned some important vocabulary, such as the vertex. We've learned the axis of symmetry, which now we are going to have an equation to help us find, negative b over 2a. This is really important. You're going to want to star it. We also talked about the y-intercepts. We talked about x-intercepts. And we talked about, does your graph open upward or downward? So these are all descriptors of a quadratic graph or a parabola that we need to remember, okay? The important thing today is to remember how to find the axis of symmetry, because this is going to be the basis of graphing parabolas. So how do we actually create a graph of these, okay? So remember, the standard form of a quadratic function is going to be that ax squared plus bx plus c. You're going to keep seeing that come back for a while, okay? So ax squared plus bx plus c. So in this first example, my a value is 1, my b value is negative 6, and my c value is 5. We're going to use the equation for the axis of symmetry, which is x equals negative b over 2a, to help us find whatever this equation's axis of symmetry is. So all I'm going to do is substitute in the values that we need. So it's negative, and then I'm plugging in b, which is negative 6, over 2 times a, which in this case our a value is 1. So we're just going to go ahead and hop over to our calculators and type that in so we can get an answer. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm typing in. So it's negative b, which was negative 6, over 2 times a. Make sure you type it in exactly how we wrote it on paper. And your answer is 3. And you can see how I typed that in with my fraction button and my negative sign. So I'm going to go back over to the notes now. So the answer here is positive 3. Do not forget the negative outside that I'm pointing at here. That is the most common mistake everybody makes with these types of problems. So the axis of symmetry for the first one is 3. I want you to pause the video, see if you can find the axis of symmetry for the second one, okay? So remember, ax squared plus bx plus c. We are missing our bx term. There's no term with just an x with it. So your a value here is 1, your b value is 0 because it's missing, and your c is negative 3. So we're going to do x is equal to negative b over 2a. So the b value is 0. So x equals 0 over 2 times 1. 0 divided by 2 is 0. So the axis of symmetry for that example is 0. Okay? That is going to be the basis of all of our problems. So really, really, really make sure that you are comfortable with finding this axis of symmetry. Okay, example 3. I've got some key features. I've got a quadratic. They want us to find the axis of symmetry. I think at this point in the notes, this would be a good spot to try. So pause the video and try this. Remember, how do you find the axis of symmetry? This equation, x is equal to negative b over 2a. And I should put that negative in front of the fraction. My apologies. So see if you can find it. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. We know that a is 1, b is equal to 2, c is equal to negative 6. So x is equal to negative b, so negative 2 over 2a, which is 2 times 1. If you type that in your calculator, you're going to get negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1. So the axis of symmetry for this example is negative 1. Now they say to make an XY table using the axis of symmetry. So I need us to draw a table. So to do that, you kind of want to make like a T-chart. If I can get my line straight. So here's my T-chart. I want my X values on the left and my Y values on the right. Remember, X values are our inputs. Y values are our outputs in a function, okay? So how do we set up the table? We are going to need 5 points in our table. Okay? So now I have 5 slots. I'm going to take my axis of symmetry, and this is going to go in the very middle of our table, okay? So whatever you get for your axis of symmetry is where you're going to start your table in the middle, all right? To fill in the table from there, you just count upwards and downwards based off what you have. So -1 counting up is going to go to 0 and then 1. If you count down, it's -2, -3, okay? Now, I'm going to show you how to get the outputs for this using your school calculator, and then I'm going to show you another way, okay? So once you have created this table, we have the inputs and the outputs, I need to type in my function. So my function here is y equals x squared plus 2x minus 6. We need to type this in to our calculator. So I'm going to hop over here. Let me see if I can pull my camera up at the very same time that I'm doing this. I guess not. So I'm going to go, yeah, it said split view not supported. We want to make a table. So hit the table button on your calculator. Whatever's in here, you can clear it out with the clear button. And then you're going to type in whatever our equation is. So let me hop back over to our notes. I need to type in x squared plus 2x minus 6. So here I go back over to my calculator. So x squared, how do I get x? X is right here. So you can hit x squared minus 2x. Ooh, excuse me, hit the wrong thing. Is it minus 2x? Let me make sure I'm getting it right. Oh, it's plus 2x, so make sure you type it in right. If you need to delete, you can hit delete. X squared plus 2x minus 6, okay? Then you can hit enter. And it's asking, where do you want to start your table? So remember, we started our table at, let's go look. What did we do? We started our table at -3 because this is where it starts, okay? So I'm going to tell the calculator, hey, I want to start my table at -3. So I'm going to do -3. This is asking, what are you counting by? Are you going up by 1s? Are you going up by 2s? What are you counting by? In our case, we're going up by 1s. So I'm going to say to step up by 1s. So then I'm going to hit OK. And see how it says ask X? I can't have that highlighted. So use your cursor to highlight auto. Okay, you want it to auto calculate your table. That's why my table looked weird at first. So if I hit auto and then hit OK, it's going to give us our table. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these out, -3, -3, -2, -6, -1, 7, and you can scroll down to get the other values of your table too. So you kind of use this as a cursor, as a mouse, to control what's going on your screen. I'm going to go ahead and copy this down on the notes now. Please rewind that or rewatch it at any point if you need to see how I got that again on the school calculator. And I'm going to write down our points that we got from the calculator using the table feature. So that's how to make an XY table using the axis of symmetry. Whoop, and there went my notes. So watch the video if you need to see those. Okay, so moving on to the next side, example 4. Now we're going to have to use that and graph it, okay? So I'm going to first, remember, you always start by finding your axis of symmetry. So in this problem, my B value is -6. My A value, which we need, is 1. So I need to do -b over 2a. So -6 over 2 times 1. When we type that into our calculator, let me go ahead and try that. It's going to become 3. So x is equal to 3. Remember, you use that axis of symmetry to start in the middle of your table. So I'm going to put the 3 right in the middle. Then you can just count up and down from 3. So if you count down from 3, it's going to go to 2 and then 1. If you count up, it's going to go to 4, 5. You could even go more than that, but I only need 5 points. Only need 5 points on the table. Okay? So I'm going to start there, and we can cross out those 2 spots. So how do you graph the function? Well, I'm going to hop over to my table feature in my calculator, and I'm going to type this in. This is my function. So I need to type in x squared minus 6x plus 13 into my calculator. So I'm doing that now. And I'm starting my table at 1, like we have it on the paper. And then I can fill in my table from there. 8, 5, 4, and then 5 and 8. So that is how I fill in the table. I'm also going to show you how to do this on Desmos. So at home or even at school, you can use Desmos to help you with these things. What is Desmos? You're going to want to Google it, Desmos Graphing Calculator. This is what it's going to look like. So I'll give you a second if you need to pause the video and get here. Once you're at the Desmos Graphing Calculator, what you're going to do is type in the equation that we're graphing. So we're graphing y equals x squared minus 6x plus 13. It's going to show you your graph right here, which is great, okay? But what we need to do is to be able to get the table on Desmos. So you can see here I'm highlighting the gear icon. I'm going to unhighlight it and re-highlight it a couple times so you can see where I'm at. You're going to want to click that gear icon and then hit the table icon right here, which you can see I'm kind of making it blink for you so you can see where it's at. There's our table, and you just fill it in with the 5 numbers that we have. So remember, we started in the middle with the 3. That was our axis of symmetry, and then fill in the other numbers that you need. And we just count up by ones. So you can see there, not only does it give you your table on Desmos, but it also plots the point on the graph so you can double check and really make sure, am I plotting these correctly? So that's how you can use Desmos to help with these problems. I'm going to show you again on the next one as well. So I'm going to swipe that away for now. Go ahead and plot the points on the graph that we need. So I'm going to do 1 up 8, 2 up 5. With my coordinates, I'm getting these from the table. So plot the points. 3 up 4, 4 up 5, and 5 up 8. And this is our lovely parabola, our lovely quadratic. And connect your dots with a smooth curve. Make sure you have arrows and the end of your graph because it extends forever in both directions, okay? So that's how you do that. You can try the check real quick. So pause the video, make sure you can get it on the check. I'm going to go ahead and work it out now. So I've got y equals negative 4x squared plus 3. First things first, you have to start with your axis of symmetry, negative b over 2a. So what's my b? What's my a is what I'm asking myself. Well, I know for sure my a is negative 4. And my b, some people are going to say 3, but think of this. ax squared plus bx plus c. The bx term, okay, is missing. It's not there. So your b value is 0, okay? You have your c, but you don't have a bx term, okay? So when we do this, it's going to be negative 0 over 2 times negative 4. 0 divided by anything, I don't care if it's 6 elephants, it's always going to be 0. That is what you use to start your table. Okay, so since there's no bx term here, you will start by making your table with the 0 in the middle. Okay, so plotting the x and the y points, make sure you have 5 slots on your table. 0 is what you start with in the middle, and then you're going to count backwards and up. So it's going to be negative 1, negative 2, 1, and 2. I'm going to show you how to do this on Desmos. Once again, you're going to need the function, the equation to type into Desmos. So I'm going to hop over here, close those out with the X. Then I'm going to open my notes so I can reference what I'm doing here. So I'm trying to type in this equation that we have boxed. So it's going to be y is equal to, I need my negative sign, negative 4x squared plus 3. Sorry, I had to scoot that around so I can fit everything. So now I have that again. Remember, how do we find the table? You're going to hit that gear icon that I'm highlighting right now. I'm going to click it, and then you want to do this table icon that I'm making blink right now. You're going to want to hit that table icon. Now, we started our table at -2 and then counted through 0 up to +2. That's what we have here on Desmos as well. So that's exactly what I'm going to write down now on my notes. So I have -13, -1, 3, -1, -13. Plot everything that you can fit onto your graph, okay? So I can fit 0, 3. So 3 is going to be right here. I can fit -1, -1. I can fit 1, -1. But I can't fit anything else because my graph doesn't go to 13. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and connect these points and try to make it as good as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And it's going to be a smooth curve pointing downward like that. Rewind the video at any point. I know this is a lot to cover in a little time, so make sure you rewatch the video at any point to help you get these problems done. Let me know if you have any questions.